It started as one of those nights you expect to go well. Good food, laughter, and a few harmless jokes among friends. My wife Amanda had invited her entire circle over to our place for a dinner party. The house buzzed with music and wine-soaked laughter. I stood behind the grill, flipping steaks, watching her as she laughed louder than usual, leaning a little too close to her friend. Ryan, the guy she swore was just like a brother. He was charming, smooth-talking, and always found excuses to compliment her. Normally, I let it slide. I trusted her. But that night, something in the way she looked at him told me I was no longer the only man in the room who thought of her as mine. As the night went on, her friends started their usual teasing. One of them, tipsy and bold, looked at Amanda and said, "You're a lucky girl. You've got a backup plan right here if he ever messes up." Everyone laughed, even Amanda. She smirked, twirling her hair and saying, "Well, it doesn't hurt to have options, right?" The table erupted in laughter again, everyone but me. I smiled, but inside, something snapped. It wasn't the joke that hurt. It was how easily she played along. The woman who once told me I was her forever had just turned me into the punchline of her own flirtation. I didn't say anything. Not then. I poured myself another drink, watched her friends whisper, and Ryan wink at her. Every move screamed disrespect, the kind that makes your blood run cold. When Amanda looked at me from across the table, expecting me to laugh it off like a mature husband, I met her eyes and smiled calmly. She had no idea that, in that very moment, I had decided the game was about to change. If she wanted to joke about backup plans, I'd make sure everyone in that room saw exactly what that looked like. After dinner, while they were busy with dessert and gossip, I slipped away to the living room and called her backup man over. "Hey Ryan," I said with an easy smile. "Mind giving me a hand?" He followed me a little too eagerly. I gestured toward Amanda, who was still laughing with her friends. "You seem pretty close with my wife," I said casually. He froze, unsure how to respond. "No, man, it's not like that." I interrupted him, smiling. "Oh, it's okay. You can have her. She's clearly happier with you." His face went pale. The room had gone silent. Amanda turned toward me, her laughter dying instantly. "Jack, what the hell are you doing?" she snapped, her cheeks burning red. I looked at her calmly. "You said it yourself. He's your backup, right? Consider him the main one now." Her friends stared wide-eyed. One tried to break the tension with a nervous laugh, but no one joined. I picked up my jacket, finished my drink, and added, "You don't joke about commitment to someone who took every word seriously." Amanda's mouth opened, but no words came out. She looked small, stripped of the smug confidence she'd worn all night. I left her standing there with her so-called backup and her stunned friends. The night air outside felt colder than usual, but freeing. I got into my car and drove. The laughter that once filled our home was replaced by the steady hum of the engine. For the first time, I didn't feel like the fool in the room. I felt like a man reclaiming his dignity. Sometimes walking away says more than shouting ever could. That night, I didn't need to argue. I just let silence speak for me. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls and desperate messages. "Jack, please. It was just a joke. Come home. You're overreacting." "Ryan means nothing." Each message reeked of panic. But to me, it was already too late. I had spent too many nights trying to convince myself that her attention meant loyalty, that her laughter meant love. But real love doesn't humiliate you in front of others. Real love protects you even when you're not there to defend yourself. And Amanda had failed that test completely. A few days later, she showed up at my office, tears streaking her face, begging me to come home. "You embarrassed me," she said, her voice trembling. I looked at her, not with anger, but with a quiet sadness. "No, Amanda," I said softly. "You embarrassed us. I just let you see what it looks like from the outside." She broke down, realizing too late that what she thought was harmless fun had cost her everything. The man she thought she could play was gone, replaced by someone who had finally seen his worth. Her friends stopped calling. Ryan avoided her. The same people who laughed that night now whispered behind her back. Karma didn't come with fire and thunder. It came in whispers and empty rooms. I heard she moved out of town months later. I didn't care. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. Free from the constant second-guessing, the subtle disrespect, the jokes that were really confessions in disguise. I realized that night that when people show you how little they value you, believe them. It's been a year now. I've rebuilt my life, my peace, and my sense of self-worth. Sometimes I still think of that dinner, the laughter, the smug looks, the silence that followed my final words. But now, when I think of it, I smile, because that was the night I stopped being the backup in my own marriage. That was the night I made the choice Amanda never thought I would, to walk away with my pride intact. And in the end, that's the one thing she could never buy.